All right. Well, hello and welcome to this very quickly done video. So, about an hour ago, as of my recording, we were surprised with the patch notes for the next patch for last Epoch and told that it's going to be dropping. The patch itself is going to be dropping about 8 p.m. Central Time, which it's 3:47 p.m. right now. So, it's at 4 hours and 15 minutes from now. Really didn't expect it. Friday night patch drop, just not something that we thought was going to happen. Pleasantly surprised, of course. But anyway, the patch is huge. It's really, really big. Look at this. Check this out. Look at these patch notes. They're crazy. Wait. We're not done. Oh yeah, we're not close to done. Yeah, all right. Oh, they're still going. Yep. This is massive. It's a massive drop. So I decided what we'll do here is a pseudo quick just discussion of the points that I consider to be most important on this patch, so you can get up to date without having to read through that entire thing like I did. We'll just cover the things that are probably going to be the ones you want to know the most about, or just quickly overview the stuff that maybe is a little bit too much in the weeds. This is going to be lightly edited, if edited at all, because I want to get out as quick as possible so you all have this before the patch actually drops so you know what to expect. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing, everyone already knows about it, but idols are going to make their appearance. We didn't even know that idols existed as a mechanic until about a week ago when the dev surprised us with it. But here it is. You're going to have this 4x4 grid, and with the 4x4 grid, you can put idols into it. Idols are going to have stats. We now know a little bit more from these patch notes what that's going to look like. It's going to have one prefix and one suffix and cannot be crafted on. And some idol types can only be used by certain base classes, so they're going to be specific to those classes. Other classes won't be able to use them. This I think, is a really good thing because it allows the devs to potentially fill in some gaps in a class without making wide sweeping changes to, say, the passive skill tree. If a class is missing something a little bit, they can just add an idol or two that fit that class without powering up other classes or making major differences. So really glad to see that. Anyway, we don't know much about idols other than that. We're going to have to go and farm idols as soon as the patch drops, which is exactly what we're going to be doing. As soon as it hits 8 o'clock, we'll be streaming and we'll be doing idols and some of the other stuff on these patch notes. Anyway, let me get to this because, like I said, there's quite a bit. Some new movement binds. Some people are going to be really happy about this. You can now bind a click to move and attack to your left click. A lot of people didn't like that they couldn't do move and attack. I personally won't do that. I like having a exclusive move ability so I don't accidentally start attacking something when I'm trying to run away from it. But now, if that's something you want, you can do that. You can also do a move or break destructible. So you'll move and you won't attack anything except for like a barrel on the ground. If you want an easier way to break destructibles, I guess some people will benefit from that. That's now a thing you can have. Another big one. It's now possible to walk through your minions in and out of combat. This is especially big for necromancers. They get stuck a lot. Necromancers get stuck a lot on their pets because they can have like 40, 50 sometimes out at a time. No longer an issue. You can walk right through them. No problem. So that's going to be really big for that particular class. It'll also help Beastmaster, but it's really going to be huge for Necromancer in particular. Combat responsiveness is something that they've talked about already about 2 weeks ago. Greatly reducing the delay of most skills. I never felt this game had a lot of problems with skill delay and responsiveness. But hey, if they felt it was a problem and this fixes it, then awesome. If you've found some skills that weren't working the way you wanted to, this might resolve that problem for you as well. All right, another one that only really affected a couple of abilities. This what do they call? They call auto aim. These abilities they have a small melee attack range. We're gonna auto aim if they would not otherwise hit a target. My vengeance build that the first build I ever created was a vengeance build, and I've created a second one that I haven't made a guide on. Both of these have been suffering from this, where if you're targeting something that's like 2 mobs deep, it just won't attack. It'll stand there and look at it. This should fix that problem so that we're still consistently attacking. And vengeance was a particular problem because when you're attacking, you get a damage reduction. So if you're not attacking, you're not getting a damage reduction. So that's pretty problematic. Fixed it. Awesome. All right. What's next? Melee auto aim. Buyback is now in the game. You can buy back up to 20 items that you've sold to shopkeeper. So if you made a mistake, whoopsie, now you can fix that. Gambler now restocks its items. We used to just leave the game and come back in to get the restock. Now we don't have to do that. You just spend some gold, and the gambler will restock its items. So better for if you're hunting for gear using the Gambler. It's a little easier to do it than it was before. Uh, let's see. Poison got nerfed slightly. So a lot of us didn't even realize this until like a week ago, that poison has a stacking damage increase. So the more poison you have on it, the more damage the enemy takes from poison. It was 10% per stack, and now it's down to 8%. Not a big deal, but just know that that is a thing that poison has, and it's a little bit less so than it was before, but I think it's still going to be just fine. Let's see, campaign optimization. They did a lot of things to just kind of like make it easier to follow the campaign early in the game. And they also did some things just to make certain areas a little bit more interesting, a little cooler than what they were, make a little bit more sense. Design updates, stuff like that. Cool things, but nothing that's going to like be game changing, but just nice features to it. Monolith did get some interesting stuff. 5 new mods. Enemies have thorns, armor shred chance, health and crit avoidance, glancing blow chance, deadly if not damaged recently. Those are all pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of having glancing blow on the enemies, but hey, crit avoidance too. That could be really bad for obviously a crit build, but a build that doesn't care about crit. Gives you more strategy in which mods you want to pick. But along with that strategy, you can no longer be offered a mod as an option in the Monolith Fate if it's currently active. So you can only have one stack, I guess you could say, one version of a mod. It used to be you could just stack the same one as long as it rolled in your options. You can't do that anymore. It's just not gonna roll. So keep that in mind. Monolith chest rewards now depend on the number of enemies killed. Used to be we just run to the very end of Monolith and just kill the boss as quickly as you can, and that was the most efficient way to get your rewards to farm stuff. That may not be the case anymore. It might be that you got to kill a certain number of enemies before you reach like optimal efficiency. So we'll have to test it and see how it goes. Let's see, 6 new types of forges. That's just more flavor. See, yeah, that one doesn't matter. The experience bonus granted by Monolith mods are now more varied and generally higher. This is pretty cool. And this is actually as far as I know, a direct result from me asking about this in one of the streams and them checking on it because we got tired of arenas. Arenas are nice, but having to do arenas 70% of the time because that's the best way to level, they get boring. This is going to help, we hope, assuming that the XP is high enough, because the difference was pretty huge before this. Let's see, and then there's 2 mods that are a little bit more powerful, a little stronger, and that covers the Monolith. So some good stuff there, I think, overall. Arena also got some stuff. 3 new arena zones with some new mechanics. This we don't know what this means. There could be like traps and shit now. It could be that way. We don't know. We'll find out. Arena wave scaling speed was increased by 10%. This is a good thing. Having builds that can go 700 plus waves is not good. So the more scaling they do, the more difficult they make it, the better. So we can get it more in line so the best builds aren't doing crazy numbers. They slightly reduced the XP bonus granted by reaching high arena waves. This also will affect Monolith because if you're not getting as much in arena and you're getting more in Monolith, hopefully they balance out and Monolith becomes more viable. And then the twin and fractured monster mods no longer spawn in the arena due to sometimes causing enemies to be present in the rest phase between waves, which has definitely killed lots of players. So I'm overall happy with that. I don't like to see the game get too easy, like all these things making the game easier, but until they can get the bugs out of that stuff that causes problems that you don't want, I'm okay with them taking them out for now. Okay, let's see that's arena changes. Major enemy changes. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that's happening. This stuff is going to be like truly game changing. Some of these changes that happened here. So enemy damage resistance now scales up at higher levels in addition to enemy health, but the effective health of each enemy is unchanged. If an enemy takes 60% less damage than before, it also has 60% less health. So here's some examples of how it's going to play out in the game. Effects that scale inversely with enemy health, such as freeze, are more effective, especially at higher levels. That's great. CC now should work better. Effects that scale inversely with enemy health plus protection total, such as shock, are also more effective, especially at high levels. Also CC, also good. Effects that scale with your damage, such as leech, are less effective, especially at high levels. Probably good. Leech is really, really, really powerful in the game at this point. Having that be a little bit weaker is going to shift the focus of endgame a bit, and that's not a bad thing right now. Effects that scale with percentage damage dealt, such as stun, will function the same as before this patch. That's bad. Stun is completely broken in endgame, doesn't work at all. This is not going to help that. It's still going to be completely broken, not going to work at all. So as far as I can tell, don't try a stun build. Nothing's changed. Rebalance the damage and health of many enemies and bosses, chapter 3, 4, 5, and 6. We don't know exactly what that means. It just means that don't expect enemies to do what they were in those chapters, which are most of the chapters. They're going to be different now. They're going to do something different, whether they hit harder or take longer to kill. Things are just going to be different with them. All right, this next one's pretty big too. Increased enemies' effective health and damage at higher levels. 10% more effective health and damage at 50, 20 at 75, and 30 at 100. So the scaling has increased, which is an interesting choice because there was already some like theories out there that like pushing arena at a lower level is much better than a higher level. This is only going to exacerbate that problem. This could create a negative effect from what the developers actually want to happen, but we'll just have to see. We'll have to see if now it's the case that you should start the arena super early because the scaling is worse at higher levels. We'll find out. All right, let's see. Spreading Frost Boss, not important. Well, not important enough. Wingari Matriarch now deals 10% less damage. This was also supposedly taken out of the arena, but I don't see it in the patch notes. So I don't know if the Matriarch was truly taken out of the arena or if they had planned on it and then decided against it. We'll have to see. We'll just have to do some arena and see if the Matriarch shows up because it's, like it says, not in the patch notes, but it was supposed to be in the patch notes. So we'll see what happens. This one's actually interesting. With Death Screech ability, the one that Chimera uses, the crazy bone bird looking thing, is now a damage over time effect. We always thought it was, and it actually wasn't. But it would not be affected by dodge, but it could be blocked. So it was a really weird in between thing. Now they just went straight made a dot. So now your blocks will not affect it at all. Okay, let's see here. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, this is Arcane Ascendance is this new ability that just got this new skill just randomly. Hey, here it is. It's unlocked at sorcerer level 20. An instant skill which, when enabled, grants a large spell damage increase, but prevents the player from moving and drains mana. This is really interesting. We'll see how this plays. Depending on how the spec tree is, specialization tree, this could be really fun or really dangerous, or maybe a combination of them. All right, let's see here. Sorcery skill. Okay, yeah, Thicket Blades. It's no longer an equipable skill. They've taken it out of the skills, but they put it into the passive node of Druid. Kind of cool, actually. I kind of like this. I was worried that when Thicket Blades got its passive tree, its spec tree, that it was going to be redundant with Maelstrom in a way that caused players to use both, because they both do the same thing in the same area, just like kind of double the damage and make them stupid OP. This should prevent that problem from ever existing. All right, this is a huge one. Primalist has basically gotten, well, at least Beastmaster has gotten reworked. And we don't know exactly what that means because most nodes have been replaced or changed. We don't know if they've been replaced or changed too. We do know some things about it. We know there's these new aspects in here which are really cool. There are these buffs for you and your companions. There's a reduced damage taken one with bleed. There's a crit and stun chance one with leech. There's a melee damage attack speed one with armor shred. And then there's a poison and dot one with increased poison effects. So those are very cool, actually. I'm really excited about those. And then that node that adds an extra maximum companion no longer has a downside. We've been clamoring for that for a while, or didn't seem to be any reason why you'd put a downside on them. And the downside was always really bad. So no longer a problem at all. That's awesome. Let's see. And then notes for single companion builds now limit you to one companion and significantly buff that companion. So maybe one companion builds become more viable now because they weren't really super good before. All right, I think we can move on from that. Just a general, if I haven't said this already, a general note: Necromancer, Acolyte in general has got a ton of changes, and frankly, I haven't played enough Acolyte to navigate that intelligently. And so I'm just going to throw that out there. There's a lot of stuff that changed with Necromancer, a lot of stuff that changed the Acolyte in general, whether it be skills, passives, just a lot of stuff changed. If you played Acolyte a lot, I would encourage you to go take a look because it's much different, it looks like now. And we'll try to do some theory crafting with it in the coming week or two, but for now, I just don't know enough about all the things that have changed to really navigate that. But I do know a lot about Paladin. And so we can talk a little bit about that. One thing that's really cool, there's now a glancing blow when hit node. That's awesome because glancing blow does still exist. Although, as we're about to talk about in a few minutes, it's different now. They've changed it. But let's get to that and when we get to there on the list. Okay. Crafting window has been overhauled. Just basically works better. what you really need to know. It works better, should be more intuitive to use. All right, what's next on our list? We covered Acolyte, Paladin, Crafting Window. Here's the Glancing Blow rework. Actually, we're here right now. Glancing Blow. So it's much different. The hybrid blow prefixes that we've relied on are gone. Just don't exist anymore. Now there's a glancing blow suffix and a set glancing blow prefix. If you're not familiar with how the set crafted items work, basically they get magnified. The affix itself gets magnified based on how many of that affix you have on other pieces of gear. So like if you have it on gloves, then it'll be the base amount, and then if you have it also on amulet, both the amulet and the gloves are more powerful now. And if you have it on the amulet, the gloves, and then boots, then all three of them are more powerful now, and they're multiplied by each other. So it has this really exponential power gain on it. And the set health has been something that players have been really starting to use more in the end game because it's so powerful. So that's now in this. Um, so it's much different. And it can and the set glancing blow is a little bit different than the other sets where they can roll on more than 4 types of items. I think most of the sets were like I think it were like the 2 rings, the amulet, and the shoot, what's the book? Your far right one. Anyway, that one. This one can roll on more. All right, and so they also talked about their goals. They want us to have more flexibility in our gear slots, which is great. That's one of the things we really need. I don't know if this fix is going to do exactly what they want, but it should definitely help. Now you don't need as many affixed slots taken. It used to be you need at least 6, and now you can do it with like 4 tier 5 set glancing blows. So that frees up 2 new slots on your gear to do other things and still have enough glancing blow. Of course, if you're playing a paladin or I think it's Forge Guard, both of those have glancing blow built into their passive. Actually, I'm not sure if Forge Guard does or not. I think there are 2 that have glancing blow built in. We know paladin does because it's in this patch. So if you have those nodes, you can put even less on your gear and do even more other things. So this is going to add some flexibility to the game for us. That's great. We'll see how it actually goes, how it actually plays, but at least we know it's going to be better in some ways. Somehow it's going to be better. All right. There's a new boot base type. The Shrine boot requires level 58 to equip, so this is more of an end game. It doesn't have as much armor and movement speed as other endgame base types, but reduces the duration of stuns you receive. Could be really good. We'll have to see. A lot of builds don't get stunned that much, but some builds really do. This could help them get out of a bind uh, more quickly than they otherwise would. All right, armor and procs while channeling got nerfed pretty substantially. 30% decrease in its power. We made the last build actually that I posted on YouTube was using armor procs while channeling, so that tells you that they saw that there was a little bit too much power there. Throwing attack damage got nerfed by about 14%. This one's a little surprising to me. Throwing attack damage was good, but I didn't think it was outside of the general endgame build damage levels. I thought it was pretty balanced. They didn't think so, so we'll see how that goes. Reduce the block chance of most shields, particularly high level ones. An interesting choice. You can only get to about 85% or so, maybe slightly more than that. Block chance, as far as like permanent block chance on what was it? Forge Guard is the one I think with the highest total block chance. Paladin might be able to get a little higher actually because you don't use dodge. Anyway, you won't be able to get as much as you could because the highest block chance shields are going to have a little less than used to. All right, let's see. Block chance. 3 new uniques have been added. We don't know anything about these other than their names. The Scavenger, which is a belt. The Catalyst, Ignivar's head, and the staff, Plague Bearer staff. We'll have to get them and find out what they're like. But also, the Claw and the Fang now allow you to summon wolves up to your companion limit, which is really cool. I think it's really cool because you just give you 1. You could have 1 additional wolf. Well, now if you've got 5 companions, it seems as though you'll be able to have 5 wolves, so you can have a wolf pack. Wolf pack build, yay! Like a true wolf pack build. That's really cool. These do give slightly less health than before, so there's the downside, but not a huge one. All right, we're almost to the end here. We've got a Maelstrom rework to talk about. This is more Acolyte stuff, by the way. It's an example. Like Acolyte just got huge reworks. Maelstrom got a reduced general damage and freeze rate by about 17%. It's hard to say exactly if this is a nerf though, because some things got buffed. Like Eye of the Storm has more damage now, so it's going to have to be theory crafted. That's the only way we're going to really know if that's a true nerf and whether or not it's a substantial one. All right. Let's see. Maelstrom sigils. Oh yeah. So they did sigils or sigils, depending on how you pronounce it. They've made this ability a pain in the ass. Like I don't know how else to put this. It's just they made it a pain in the ass. It was already kind of a pain in the ass because you had to keep it up, pretty consistently and keep watch over it. Now you're just going to be hitting it all the time. Casting sigils of hope no longer refreshes the duration of all existing sigils. So we found this functionality to make the skill too powerful for relatively little investment. Well, now it's going to have a whole lot of investment with your finger cramping. That's basically what's going to happen. I am not happy with this one. I understand they might have thought that sigils was too powerful. I don't think making a pain in the ass was the right way to go with this. But we'll play with it and see what happens. That's my current stance in it, though. I think this is one of the worst design choices that they made for this patch. A lot of these things I'm really happy with, but this one I was not particularly happy with. But I've been wrong about how things work in the past, so we'll have to see when we get there. All right, the Wolves tree. We talked about the Wolves a bit. They've gotten quite a bit changed to them, and this is good. As the Wolves worked before, you basically had to go for a couple of nodes all the time, and so builds are pretty limited. They've made that not be a problem anymore. Let's see here. These ones right here are the ones that are the big ones. The wolf and companion limit nodes have been reworked. There's now one node that gives you +1 wolf and +1 companion, and another that allows you to summon wolves up to your companion limit. So that companion limit one's especially cool. And this one used to be just you'd have one wolf and then you'd have one companion, and they were different nodes. And I think there's two +1 wolf nodes out there as well. So there's like 3 nodes that, depending on if you want to make a wolf pack, you had to get. No longer a problem. You can now just do it with 2. And you don't necessarily have to get those. They're not nearly as important as they were, or at least one of the nodes. You can skip. That's good. Let's see. This is a cool one. Added nodes that allow the howl ability to proc automatically. Uh, a lot of people have complained that howl is just too expensive to do it. As long as this doesn't cost mana, which they 11th Hours had a tendency to do this. The patch was like, it's an auto proc, but it still takes your mana. I'm like, no, that almost completely destroys the point of it. If as long as it doesn't do that, this is going to be a really good node. And then let's see. I think there's one other thing in here I wanted to change a lot of the positions. And I guess that's all I really wanted to talk about with these. There are some other changes in here. If you're really into the wolves, definitely suggest taking a look at it. But wolves are going to work a lot differently. I'm probably going to try to make a wolf pack tonight. Actually, I think that might be my build. So that'll be cool. All right, last thing to talk about, and then we're good. And it's Warpath. Warpath has got substantially changed. The goal seems to be here they don't want it to move as fast, which probably the right time to do that, actually, because the changes with mono are going to make Warpath really, really strong. If mono now wants you to clear a lot of stuff, Warpath's ability to move relatively fast while never stopping its attack was going to be probably the meta, I thought. So this might help alleviate that problem a little bit. I'm not going to go through all the stuff in here because you see like there's a ton of stuff that changed, but the general idea is they want to cost more if you're going to pull, which is definitely mono, in my opinion, mono focused, and bring the movement speed down. And we'll see how this affects my builds. I have 2 Warpath builds out there right now. We'll see if it's a major difference for those builds which don't rely on Warpath to do damage. It might not be that big of a deal for those. It might not affect them all that much, but again, testing will have to occur, which will happen at 8 p.m. tonight Central Time. It's in by the time I get this out, it'll probably be about 3 hours away, and then we'll hit it up. And I plan on being on pretty late tonight, so if you want to go theorycraft with me, check some stuff out, ask questions, see how things are working in the patch, definitely come check me out on Twitch. We'll be having a great time there. If you want to ask me questions about this stuff, um, in any other forum, you can do it on YouTube. You can do it in my Discord. Both are great places. We'll be talking about stuff a lot over the whole weekend. I'll be testing this stuff, so definitely, if you want to check it out, love to have you hang out. All right, that's it for me. We're done. I'm going to release this video, like I said, lightly edited. So sorry if it comes off kind of wonky, if I'm talking like crazy and fast. I know I am. I'm just trying to get this out really quickly. All right, all. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you tonight.